So in today's video, I'm going to discuss about the SAT examination. And this examination is the passport to bachelor's degree programs in the United States. And essentially what this examination tries to do is to measure verbal and quantitative skills which are critical for your bachelor's degree program and further success as a scholar. So again, let us take a look at the primary components of this exam. So this examination has 1600 points, and half of these come from the verbal section and the remaining half from the quantitative section. And beside that, there is an optional composition part which you can write. So let us come to the reading and vocabulary part, or the verbal section. So essentially, why do you have a verbal section? The reason being that you need to read a lot of material in your college, and you need to comprehend this material and to write term papers and different scholarly reports on this particular material. So that's a large part of your college degree. So what the SAT tries to do is to test you on these reading and vocabulary skills. So if you look at this particular reading situation, you essentially have a part which is based on reading passages, and then there are questions based on these passages. So this is typically known as reading comprehension part. Beside that, there is a writing and language part, and this essentially asks you to read certain passages, and then there are questions in terms of changing or revising certain sentences or parts of these passages. So this particular part tests your skill in terms of sentence structure, usage, and punctuation. So all these aspects again are very important for scholarly writing and reading, and so these are being tested here. The next part we come to is the mathematics part. The mathematics part essentially tests you on linear systems. So essentially these are straight lines, planes, and so on. And besides linear systems, there are also questions on geometry, including triangles, Euclid's theorems, and so on. There are questions regarding data. So again, data is a huge part about the scholarly process, and you have a large amount of data interpretation required not only in the sciences but also in the social sciences and humanities. So again, in terms of data analysis, you have questions on ratio, proportion, and percentages, and you need to interpret tables and figures and equations. So here they are essentially teaching you and testing you on some of the core methods which are required to do research and to write papers later in your life. So again, all this is tied to aspects of problem solving. So these questions are not presented in a vacuum, but in the context of some real life problems which you need to do. Now, beside this, there are certain topics which are the so-called advanced topics, and these include polynomials. So here you can think of quadratic and functions beyond quadratic. There are exponential functions, equations, expressions, and so on. Then there are rational equations and function, trigonometric problems, and also problems which require you to understand the relationship between radians, degrees, and such measures. Also, there are some questions on complex numbers. So again, complex numbers have a real and non-real or imaginary part, and it essentially is based on the fact that I is defined as the square root of -1. So again, the syllabus seems to be relatively simple, but the difficulty in SAT comes from the fact that the questions are set such as so as to test your thinking skills, and these questions may actually mix a couple of disciplines and create questions which are somewhat tricky. So that's where the challenge of the SAT comes in. Now, if we look at the particular test, I would say most of this material is already present in your high school books, and a good revision of these books is probably one of the best ways to start preparing for the SAT. As far as the verbal section is concerned, and to some extent the quantitative section, Your SAT preparation has started the moment you have entered primary school because all these skills have been building up for a long time, especially the skills involving reading and writing and grammar and vocabulary take a long time to develop. And therefore, if you have been reading and writing during your middle school years and high school years and done a lot of visits to the library and so on, then you would be getting a head start in this particular subject. Now, beside that, I would always recommend that if there is a board, there is a book set by the people who have actually set the test, that is probably the most useful book for these type of exams. So here I have the College Board book, the SAT study guide, the SAT study guide. So you can see this here. So I think this is probably the one book which will help you for this course, and I think this book has sufficient information for the entire course. And in fact, this book is written in a style which is very friendly towards student. So it is a conversational style and which you can use here. Now, beside that, I would also say that you can benefit a lot by increasing your vocabulary. Though vocabulary is no longer being directly tested in the new SAT, vocabulary always helps you in terms of reading passages and having a clearer understanding of the different passages which are presented to you. So in fact, I find reading vocabulary books to be very nice, and some books I have are The Joy of Vocabulary by Levine. So this is a very good book for starting off on this vocabulary pursuit, and you can start reading this book right in your middle school onwards. A somewhat more advanced book is How to Build a Better Vocabulary by Nurnberg and Rosenblum. And this book has the advantage of having some details about the basis of the word. So how the different words have come up and how these words are related. So that is something which is useful. And the SAT also allows you to use a calculator. So most people use the TI calculator. So again, that's the particular calculator which you may need to get for the SAT exam. Now, these are some of the basic books which you need. And beside that, the College Board has also teamed up with Sal Khan. And so there is a particular web page which you can use, that is KHANACADEMY/SAT. So again, check this out in Google and you will find that there are a lot of free material. There is a lot of free material which you can use for your preparation. Beside that, I would also recommend you visit sat.org, and this is again a good place to look at. Now, beside all these things, let us look at some aspects about how to structure your preparation. So what I would suggest is that you start with a test. So there are many free tests which are there in the College Board site and in the web in general. And if you search in Google for free SAT tests, you will find a plethora of tests set up by different bodies and so on. But go for a real test set up by the College Board and do one of these tests and see where you stand. So again, the SAT is structured such that the mean score is somewhere around 1000. So it is slightly more than the half of the total score. So you need to see how much you are beyond this particular mean and then try to increase your score from that point further. So again, most of the practice you do in terms of tests will be useful to you. So what you do is you take a test, then you spend a week looking at all the different aspects where you were weak. Then you take one more test, spend one more week in reading the things from the College Board book and from the Khan Academy website and so on. Then spend one more week, take another test and so on. So I would suggest you take about 5 to 10 tests in this manner, and I think you can get a score increase of a large amount of points through this particular process. Now, beside this, it is always useful to read a lot of literature as well as non-fiction to improve your SAT score. And while most high school students are quite good at reading literature, not many would like to read non-fiction. And this is particularly important because a lot of the passages in the SAT come from non-fiction. So I would suggest that you read subjects such as history, geography, sociology, psychology, philosophy, and so on. And this will certainly help you to become familiar with reading passages which are not necessarily simple, and then when you see these passages in the SAT exam, you will not be very shocked by looking at these particular passages. Now, there are some people who prefer to take coaching for this exam, and I would say that the advantage of coaching largely depends on your style of learning. So there are some people who learn well by listening, and there are some people who learn well by reading. If you are the reading type, then you would probably do well by reading the College Board book and also by reading several more books on this subject which are there if you need to do that. But again, the Khan web page is also a good substitute if you are more inclined toward listening, and if you think you need further coaching, you can take those coaching classes, and that may help you to further increase your score. Now remember that the SAT is not simply an exam to clear or to get a good score so that you can get into college. It is also a way of developing your skills which you would require throughout your college curriculum, as well as in your master's and PhD programs if you ever choose to go for graduate study. So you can spend a couple of years on this SAT pursuit, and it will certainly help you grow as a scholar. And when you come to college, you will be much better prepared in terms of your verbal and quantitative skills. Now I'm going to set out some typical reading material which you can read for SAT in a further video, and you can take a look at that particular material. Now one more thing which I recommend is that give yourself about 6 months for the preparation of this exam at a minimum, and if possible you can give yourself 1 or 2 years, because if you give yourself a large period of time, then your score is going to go up substantially. And you will also find this a pleasurable experience because you can combine the studying for the exam with reading a variety of literature and non-fiction, as well as different vocabulary books and so on. So that will certainly help you. The other thing I recommend is that try to set aside a separate slot for any exam, competitive exam or standardized test. So my recommendation is that you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and then study till something like 8 a.m. and this time you set aside for this particular exam. So this you can do for a few months before the exam, and then during the day you can do your regular high school stuff or part-time jobs or whatever else you are doing, but you are sure that this particular time is set aside separately for this competitive exam or standardized test. So I am telling you a secret behind the high scorers, and hopefully you can make use of this. If you find 3 o'clock too difficult, then maybe you can get up at 4 o'clock. But morning time is actually the best time for this particular exam preparation. So again, I think I have covered most of the material here. So again, remember these particular websites, sat.org, that's the official website where you can find a lot of papers as well as information about how to register the exam and what the exam tries to check, and the philosophy behind the promulgation of this particular exam. And again, the Khan website, that is again, if you look at the College Board book, in almost every few pages it recommends that you go to this Khan website, which is directly linked to this particular exam. So again, that material is free, and that is something which all people can use. Now, whether you are applying to the US or not, I recommend to all people that they take a look at the SAT exam and try to give a free test, because this will help them to see where they stand in the global education system. And if you are somewhere around 1000, then you are at the mean, which is okay. But then there is a way to increase your skills beyond this point, and you may be able to at this point find the different lacunas in your learning till this particular point in high school and improve the particular grades at this point. So again, these are some suggestions I had for the particular test, and I hope these suggestions were useful to you. So again, please stay tuned to my channel for more videos on such topics. Thank you very much.